Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and says, am I the arsehole for calling my co-worker work sister after she called me work husband in front of everyone? I, 34 male, work in a small office, and we have about 30 people working here. Mary, 35 female, is one of my co-workers. We've been working together for 6 years now. We have 6 people in our department, and we have to frequently travel across the state as our work involves overseeing government projects. We always travel in a group of 2, although my travel partner changes based on the project. Mary and I are generally put on similar projects and enjoy each other's company. My wife also likes Mary. Overall, we have a very healthy work relationship. On to the incident. Yesterday, we had a happy hour in our office and we were all drinking after work hours and chatting. There was a group of around 10 people that stayed back. Mary was blabbering about how we both had been traveling together so much in the last year. She was roasting me for my habits while traveling, like always forgetting stuff in my hotel room, being sweaty and stinky when I join her for breakfast in the mornings, because I go to the hotel gym. Everyone was laughing and she was making it sound how unbearable I was to tag along. All in good fun. I also told some funny and sweet stories about her and agreed with her that I can be difficult to be with sometimes. Mary came to me and hugged me tightly and told me that she loves me and I am her work husband. It was all innocent on the surface, but she might have been a bit drunk and just didn't let go of her tight hug. Also, I hate that phrase as I do have a wife that I promise to be with forever, and not just in non-working hours. After a few seconds, I started becoming uncomfortable and also saw a few people staring at us. So to diffuse the situation, I took her hands off my shoulder and told her she was my work sister and that is why I love to annoy her so much. That seemed to have upset Mary, and she left and went back to her desk and was sobbing silently. I tried to apologize to her, but she told me how embarrassing the whole situation was. She said that she just meant work husband in platonic way, but calling me her work sister made her sound like a creep in front of the whole office. She was also angry that I aggressively removed her hands from my shoulders while hugging. I tried to reason with her that I do not like the work husband phrase, and also people gave dirty looks when she said it. So I was just trying to make sure people do not take her words in the wrong way. We talked for a few minutes afterwards and Mary calmed down. She hugged me again and left. I feel really guilty afterwards because I can see Mary's point. I made her sound like a creep by implying that she meant something inappropriate when she called me her work husband. However, I was a bit uncomfortable in that situation and just did not want people to call us that or assume something wrong. Am I the arsehole for calling Mary my work sister? I am sitting in my office writing this and a bit worried if I embarrassed Mary in front of everyone. Now, this is a not the arsehole to me. You was just trying to calm the situation down in the best possible way. You can see people that around the office were side-eyeing when she was giving you that extended hug. So you just tried removing her hands and then said, work sister. I see nothing wrong with that. I've known people in an office that's called each other work wife and work husband before, and I just, that kind of thing is just not for me, I'm afraid. And the way it went down, you know, her being tipsy or having a few drinks or whatever, the I love you followed by the long hug and the work husband, you know, it's going down the wrong path for me. And there was no consideration of your feelings in this matter as well. Yes, she was embarrassed, but you know, she's the one that caused the situation, but she's the one that put her hands on you. She's the one that called you work husband, said I love you. What about the way that you was feeling in this, the way that it made you feel uncomfortable, the way that people were looking, etc.? That was embarrassing for you in that moment. Hummus says, not the arsehole, though you are being far too generous. The reason why she jumped straight to thinking you were calling her a creep, because she knows what she was doing was inappropriate. Work husband is considered widely inappropriate now. She knows this. You responded correctly. You owe your actual wife loyalty. Mary needs to back off and act more of a professional. Commenter replies to that and says this: It sounds like Mary has built up your work relationship to be far too significant in her life and genuinely does have a crush on you. This is a danger zone, even though you are clearly not interested in betraying your wife. I would also speak to your line manager HR about what happened, so if there is office gossip or future bad behavior from Mary, either more unwelcome hugs and implications of a relationship or her being obstructive to your work after feeling rejected, then you already have the ball in your court. I'd also probably tell your wife about what happened and how you reacted, and that you have made a report about it. Banff says, not the arsehole, I think you were justified that whole time. Unfortunately, alcohol can make things awkward for everyone, but you were made uncomfortable by the extended hug, so you removing her arms from you was understandable. The problem is right now is that Mary is only considering her own feelings and not thinking at all how her own actions made you feel. She did think that such a public display of affection might make a married man uncomfortable. She's only thinking that you made her look like a creep, and let's be honest, she did kind of look like someone hitting on a married man after drinking too much. Logical Block says Mary was inappropriate in multiple ways, and you did your best to diffuse and correct the situation without making her look worse than she was making herself look. She took it upon herself to refer to you as her work husband in front of others, without seeing how you felt about the phrase. So the only person who made her seem creepy is her. If she is embarrassed, that is not your fault, nor is it your problem to fix. As far as her getting angry because you aggressively removed her hands while she was hugging you, that was extremely inappropriate for her to have even done in the first place. That's the kind of thing that can get someone a meeting in HR. None of this is on you, OP. None of it. Not the arsehole. Dizzy Ducky says, nope, not the arsehole. Not even a smidge. Yes, I love a smidge. Thank you for being one of the good guys, respecting your actual wife and shutting this nonsense down. She should be embarrassed by her behavior, and maybe this will help her learn to keep her mitts off other people's spouses, or even just co-workers in general. I would take a step back from her though, and not get played into comforting her or managing her feelings again. She's a grown woman, and none of that is appropriate in the workplace. So OP comes in with her first update and said, I posted this on about calling my coworker Mary my work sister after she tried to call me her work husband in front of the entire office. A lot of you are asking for an update, but that sub does not allow me to post an update, so I'm writing it here. Thanks everyone for your comments and giving me confidence that I did not do anything wrong or inappropriate. As I was sitting in the office the next day, I knew things would be a bit awkward between Mary and me. Mary ignored me the whole morning. Initially, I was planning to go and apologize to her, but after the post, I decided that I do not need to do that, as I should be the one who was offended. Everyone in the office could see that we were acting weird, and I heard some people gossiping about us. One of the ladies also came to me and asked me if I want to talk about Mary and me. Around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I was sitting in my office working. Mary came into my office and closed the door behind her. She was angry at me and started saying that I need to stop being an arsehole and stop ignoring her. I told her to sit and to talk about what is going on. She told me that she feels humiliated and everyone has been staring at her the whole morning because of what I did. I also stood my ground and told her that I was okay with her making fun of me, but calling me her work husband and hugging me in front of everyone for a long time made the situation awkward. She told me to get over myself and that I should know exactly what she meant. Mary said that I made a big deal of what was supposed to be a joke and made it awkward for everyone. She said calling someone work husband is a normal thing and just means that she knows me intimately like a spouse would. She said that because we spend so much time traveling together, she knows all the intimate details of how I behave outside work. I stopped her and told her that I felt offended by the term work husband because I have a wife and I do not want people to use that term to describe our relationship. I told her that she would not understand as she is single, but as a married man, I really do not want anyone to describe me as a husband in any capacity. She said that I am again misinterpreting what she was saying. She felt that we have known each other more time than I've been married. She knows me more intimately than even my wife. I have no idea why she feels that way, and I also behave like a husband when we travel together. She went on about how we go out to dinners together after work, how I always insist on having breakfast together in the morning to plan our actions of the day, and I walk around in my underwear, referring to my gym shorts around her in the mornings. She also talked about how we spent hours talking to each other during road trips and how I'm the only man she can trust with any secret in her life. She said that I'm the definition of work husband and I'm just in denial. I was a bit angry at this point. I told her that I do all of that because I consider her my friend, and she's delusional if she feels she knows me more intimately than my wife. I told her I do not want to hear that term again, and it is extremely disrespectful to my marriage. Only one woman gets to call me her husband, and that is my wife. Moreover, if my actions are giving her such ideas, maybe we need to stop being friends. She became apologetic afterwards and told me that she did not mean to disrespect my wife, and it was not her intention. She apologized to me and told me to just let it go. She said that she loves traveling with me and she does not want anything to change between us. She again said that I'm misinterpreting her statement and just wants to move on. She came to hug me again, but I told her it was okay and stepped back. I also talked to my wife about the incident that night. As expected, my wife was angry at Mary and told me that she hates the term work husband. She asked me if Mary has ever flirted with me during our trips or has a crush on me. I truthfully told her that I really have not felt that way, and she may have just said that because she was a bit drunk and is now being stubborn about it. My wife said that she feels a bit uncomfortable about Mary now and says that it's strike one for Mary and I need to try and put more distance between us while traveling. If she ever repeats the same behavior again, I should report her to HR. I promised my wife that I would try to reduce my interactions with Mary outside work hours and be more guarded around her. Update. Thanks everyone for the comments and explaining the urgency of the situation. I discussed it with my wife and had set up meetings with my manager and HR today. I plan to not file a complaint, but document what happened last week and why it made me uncomfortable. I do not have any upcoming travels this week due to holidays, but have to travel next Tuesday with her to a work site. I will discuss with my manager on what my options are. However, I feel a little distance between Mary and me for some time would be the right solution for now. Oh dear, we have another update in a second, but it's giving me some creepy vibes the way she's talking about Opie in this moment. Marv, the top comment on that update, said, Mary's description of your relationship sounds really clingy and dependent. She's created a narrative in her head about your connection. The only man she can trust with any secret in her life. That's not a work husband, whatever that means. You better keep your interactions registered and public. This can bite you in the butt very fast. And that was kind of my thinking in the situation, is that, like OP said they're going to do, is first get some distance from this and have this all documented anyway, so there is no other narrative that can be spun. I mean, I know the whole work office saw the interaction, but she could twist it in some other way about what goes on behind the scenes when they're staying in hotels, etc. And her saying that, let's just move past this, let's just let it go and go back to how things were. They're not going to go back to how they were. But for me, the red flags are waving. 2 months later, OP comes in with another update and says, I wrote a while ago regarding my co-worker friend, Mary, being upset with me for calling her my work sister when she called me a work husband in front of everyone. I'm sorry to leave everyone hanging, but the next few weeks were busy, and the issue was eventually resolved. Thanks to everyone for the comments. They really helped me when I talked to my manager about the situation. However, the last week has been crazy, so I wanted to get some opinions on what I should do next. After my last post, my wife and I were no longer comfortable with Mary's behavior. Although a part of me thought I was overreacting and that was just part of Mary's personality. I felt the need to protect myself. I requested a meeting with my manager and HR to document my side of the story. I wrote down everything and told them about the incident at the party, as well as Mary coming into my office and the comments she made. I made it clear that while I did not want them to take any action against her, I want to emphasize that her behavior made me uncomfortable, especially her comments about knowing me better than my wife and remarks about my shorts. My manager had already heard about the incident at the happy hour, as everyone in the office was talking about it. He told me he would try to shake up the travel schedule to minimize our travel together. The issue was that only 4 people in our company generally work on off-site audits, and the other 2 co-workers did not want to split up because they claimed they work well together. As a result, I continued traveling with Mary for the next couple of weeks, but it was awkward and I kept my distance. My manager then called Mary and me into his office and informed us that he was planning to train a new auditor, Carolina, 26 female, and set up a schedule where she would travel with me for 1 week and then with Mary the following week. We were asked to train her. I liked this arrangement because it meant I no longer had to travel with Mary. Carolina turned out to be a great travel buddy, and I made sure not to get too comfortable with her. I always dressed professionally when we went for breakfast, avoided late night drinks, and maintained healthy boundaries. Things were great until last week. Last Tuesday, I could feel everyone staring at me when I entered the office, and I was immediately called to a meeting with my manager and HR. HR asked if I had anything to report regarding Carolina and if she made any advances towards me during our work trips. I told them no, that Carolina had been very professional the entire time. I asked why I was being interrogated, and they told me that they couldn't disclose any further details, but that Carolina was being investigated by HR for inappropriate conduct. I left the meeting, and Mary came to my office, asking what had happened. She mentioned that she was also told Carolina would no longer be traveling with us, and that we were asked to travel together again. I told her I had no idea what was going on. I messaged Carolina to see if she was okay and if she needed to talk. She asked if she could come to my office and I agreed. Carolina explained that someone anonymously sent messages to her boyfriend, posing as someone from the office over the weekend. The message included screenshots of Carolina sending some inappropriate pictures she had taken in her hotel rooms during our travels and flirtatious messages. This person claimed to her boyfriend that Carolina was trying to cheat with him at work and he was just trying to warn them. Her boyfriend went crazy after seeing the pictures, ghosted her, and then sent the messages to HR as revenge. Carolina was in tears, telling me that she had only taken those pictures for her boyfriend and had no idea how they got leaked or how those messages even existed. Her boyfriend was furious because he also received the exact pictures from Carolina and knew they weren't fake. I consoled Carolina, but she's in deep trouble as our workplace takes such things very seriously because we work on government contracts, and I'm sure everyone suspects I'm the anonymous messenger. I was told that the matter would be investigated, and Mary and I will be working together on the project again. My manager said there was nothing he can do and also mentioned they might go through my emails and messages on my company phone as part of the investigation into Carolina. Mary seems very happy about the whole situation and keeps talking about how excited she is to revisit the restaurants and bars we used to frequent during off-site trips. She also keeps referring to Carolina as that pervert. The whole thing is just crazy. My wife, of course, believes that I would never do anything inappropriate with Carolina and that I wasn't the anonymous messenger. However, her conspiracy theory is that Mary, who was also traveling with Carolina, may have unlocked her phone and accessed the photos. It feels far-fetched, but the fact is, I'm not thrilled about traveling with Mary again. I don't think I have any other recourse to get off this project except leaving the job, which isn't possible at this time. I know many of you work in HR, and I would appreciate any advice on what I can do next. Gee bloody whiz, this is going down a dark path, isn't it? Holy moly. Now, I'm not saying OP should do this, but OP said that they can't leave the job. It's just not possible at this time, and they're going to have to be working with Mary. So in some ways, and again, I'm not saying OP should do this. It's just in my mind right now that you should make a plan with, your wife and her on board and almost play along. Obviously not get too involved with Mary, but write down everything she says, and hopefully at some point she's going to slip up, because I totally believe that was Mary's doing. You can say, oh, Mark, you've read one too many Reddit stories, and I agree with you, I have. But it does look like it's going down that path, doesn't it? It's so frustrating, though. You just want to go to work to earn some money, to put some food on your table for your family, and then you got to deal with this shit at the same time. Sad Hippo says to the OP, it was totally Mary. That's both terrifying and so creepy. I feel bad for Carolina. I do not work in HR, but I would absolutely report against your manager what Mary has been saying regarding the trips and her turn of phrase about Carolina as the situation continues. Write down her phrases and comments with dates and timestamps. You need to set very hard walls with Mary. Only ever contact her on your work phone and ensure you are not alone together unless it's in a very public place, preferably with cameras. I'm so sorry you're dealing with this, but I'm really glad you and your wife's relationship has not been affected by it. Stay strong. You did nothing wrong here. Horror Reveal says in quotes, however, her conspiracy theory is that Mary was also traveling with Carolina, may have unlocked her phone and accessed the photos. Then says, glad to know your wife has a functional brain out of everyone involved. Snarf says, in quotes, it feels far-fetched, and OP says, it really doesn't. There's two options. Number 1, Carolina sent the messages to her boyfriend from a burner account. 2, Mary hacked her phone. As only you and Mary have travelled with her and it wasn't you, then which of the two options makes the most sense? Does Mary have a PIN or code on her phone? Is she protective about hiding it? Most aren't. If you leave your phone to go to the toilet, someone can go into Chrome settings and copy your user and password for your email, photos, etc. and access them anytime. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? What would you do if you was OP? There was some people in the comments saying that they would record every interaction with Mary, but I know there's a lot of legalities around that kind of stuff. So that could be dodgy ground. You're allowed to record just so you can, reference it later, so you can make notes about it and timestamp and stuff like that. Does that still count? It's going to be interesting how this investigation actually plays out though. What do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.